my mommies, welcome to my channel. I am Crystal Divine Queen and this is my indigenous lifestyle. I help women, black mothers, to create the birth experience that they truly desire, and I also support them with their postpartum adventures by providing doula services and using this YouTube channel along with providing ebooks, blogs, and packages from my website, myindigenousLifestyle.com. I also provide affirmations and tips on my Instagram page as well. But enough about me. Today I've come to talk to you guys about birth plans and how they're really just birth preferences, okay? Birth plans kind of have a bad rep depending on who you ask. I kind of just wanted to touch on that and just kind of clarify some things about birth plans, because it's not actually a plan, but it is a way for you to let your preferences for your birth experience to be known and to advocate for yourself. So let's get into this video, guys. So like I said, I wanted to make this video because I am an advocate for birth plans, a big advocate for birth plans. In fact, I even have a guide on how to create a birth plan and just all the things that you need to consider if you are giving birth in a hospital, because there's a lot that goes on in the birth experience when you are in a hospital environment. There's a lot that we are in control of that we do not know we are in control of. So my guide tells you how to create a birth plan, and it also lets you know about the things that you're in control of that medical teams aren't so quick to let us know about, okay? But there is a lot of misconceptions about birth plans. Some medical professionals are not supportive of birth plans. Some doctors and physicians do not even bring up a birth plan. I have certainly had pregnancies where my physician never even brought up a birth plan or never even sat me down and asked me what I would prefer for my birth experience. I've definitely been in situations where my physician told me how my birth experience was going to go. And because I was young and I didn't know a lot and I wasn't anywhere spiritually or mentally where I am right now, I just kind of went with the flow and I put all my trust into this person because they were in a position of authority. So that's why I'm a big advocate of birth plans, because it allows you to maintain control of your birth experience. But it can be a little misleading because some parents feel like their birth plan is the rubric of how their birth experience will go, and birth is so unpredictable. I mean, the only person who is really in control and has a say so is the baby. And the baby isn't really communicating with us directly, you know? So you have to be somewhat flexible, and you have to understand that it's not a plan, but it is about your birth preferences, okay? So let's dive in a little bit deeper with that, because even though I use the term birth plan, I want to emphasize that it is really your birth preferences. So a birth plan is a document that is usually 1 page long. It doesn't need to be a whole essay, and that's kind of the first thing that we as parents do wrong when we create a birth plan. We create a birth packet, and it should just be a 1 page document, and it should only list your preferences for your birth experience. That's another thing that we do wrong when we create our birth plan. We jump right into the I do not wants. And that kind of, depending on who your physician is or the medical team at the hospital is, when you give them your birth plan, that can kind of set things off on the wrong tone. Just coming in saying, I don't want this, I don't want that, I'm not going to have this, that, and third. And that's understandable, you know, if you're a professional in your environment and you have someone coming in and they're telling you all of the things that you probably typically normally do, they don't want to do it. Then comes the frustration when you're left to ask, okay, well, what do you want to do? And you can say everything that you want to do, but again, you cannot control every aspect of labor. It is unpredictable, and ultimately the baby is going to decide how the birth experience is going to go. We are just here for the ride. And now there are some hospitals that are supportive of birth plans. There are even some hospitals that have birth plan worksheets where you can fill it out so that the nurses or whoever on staff, they can pull it up when you come in labor, and they can just, they're familiar with it, and they can be right on the same page with you as far as what your birth plan is. So you definitely want to, do your hospital tours and ask if they have something like that. And if not, can I go ahead and give you guys my birth plan so it'll already be on my file. This is also why it is important, if you can, because a lot of us, we don't really have the option to interview a different amount of OBGYNs and figure out which one is the right fit for us. A lot of us might be on some type of state insurance from the government, and we kind of just have to go with whatever is available at the time. So if you do have the opportunity to choose, definitely interview your OBGYN. And even if you don't, you still want to interview that person, because you want to know what their philosophy of birth is like. Because if it is against yours and you're in a position where you may feel like, okay, this is the only access that I have to an OBGYN, then at least you know ahead of time and you can prepare, because you're already knowing, okay, this is the mindset of my doctor. This is what the type of things that my doctor is going to say. Let me go ahead and prepare for the birth experience and prepare for that reaction. Always remember, too, Divine Mommies, that they cannot do anything without our consent. We have to consent to everything, okay? And don't ever feel pressured. You might find yourself in a situation where you are feeling pressured, but do not succumb to the pressure, okay? You are in control, and ultimately they work for you. Whether you're coming out of pocket paying them or not, they are working for you. So interview your OBGYN, interview that hospital and anyone else who's going to be a part of their medical team, just like you would interview a midwife or a doula. Now, back to birth plans. The best part of a birth plan is that when you are going through the process of creating a birth plan, it is allowing you to become more knowledgeable about birth experiences, especially in a hospital environment, which is typically where birth plans thrive the most. If you're having birth in a birthing center, they're more welcoming to that. And definitely if you're having a birth at home, you have full control of your birth experience, and you're less likely to need a birth plan. So you get to become more knowledgeable, and you also begin to learn alternatives. Back to what I was saying before, you don't want to just come in with a birth plan that says I don't. What you want your birth plan is to say, instead of pain medication, I prefer to have an active labor. That type of wording is the things that you want to say on your birth plan. And if there is an aspect of your birth experience in a hospital environment that you don't agree with, guess what? That is your preference. You don't have to. But educate yourself and find out, okay, what is an alternative that I am okay with, that I would prefer for my birth experience. And that's what you want to put in your birth plan. Let me just review on what a birth plan is, or what it consists of, for those who may not know. Your birth plan is going to be prefaces for your arrival, your labor, and your afterbirth. Like I said, I created a birth plan guide. I will have the link for that in the description box below. For the whole month of May, my guides are discounted, so it's at a really good steal right now. And I did that for Mother's Day, But I created a birth plan guide, and it includes everything that you would need to consider if you're going to give birth in a hospital environment. Everything. When I say everything, y'all, I really mean everything that you would need to consider in order to maintain control of your birth experience as well. It has all kind of alternatives in there if there is something that you do not prefer for your birth experience as well, because medical teams, they initiate control from the beginning. As soon as you arrive to the hospital and you put on that gown, you are now a patient, and that's the beginning of the control that we are giving them, and we don't even realize it. We typically don't end up realizing this until afterwards, after everything is said and done. And a lot of times that just doesn't leave us feeling too great about our birth experience. So my guide is meant to bring awareness of all the things that you do have control of, as well as teaching you how to create a birth plan. My motivation behind creating this guide was because a lot of times we put a lot of blind faith into people because of the position of authority that they're in and the white coat that they're wearing. We go into these doctor's appointments with the notion in our mind that this person knows more than we do and that this person knows what's best. And that's not always the case. A lot of times we are putting a lot up for risk and we're not even aware of what we're putting up for risk because we're not being properly informed about things that they are pressuring us to consent to. So again, my guide lets you know all the things to consider about your arrival to the hospital, your labor experience, and your afterbirth, which is very, very important because a lot of us, once the baby comes out, we think, oh good, we're done, and we're not done. We still have a lot to go. And if you go in with that mindset, guess who's going to just take over the afterbirth experience? It won't be you. I'm going to go ahead and end this video right here, family. Don't forget that the link to get a copy of my birth plan guide is always going to be in the description box below. You can find it on my website, and they are discounted for the whole month of May. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my video. I hope that you like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell. Turn on my notifications so you know anytime that I post a video, and I will see you guys next time. All right, peace.